So Charlotte's one of those places for me today, and I'm looking forward to getting racing. We'll see what happens.
All right, Jay, thanks for talking with us here. You have a great day out there, and we'll look forward to talking to you later on.
Yes, sir. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, it's been amazing what this team has done so far. The performance level is at an extremely high level. And then you've got one thing. They've got one thing that they have to really overcome is pit stops. They have some bad pit stops that they have overcome. And last week at Iowa, they had some stops where they couldn't really overcome it. They lost four positions on one of the stops and 6 on another, and they really weren't able to come back and challenge for the win. I think that's they've made a change on their pit crew. Maybe today they've got it fixed, and we can see even better result.
Yeah, I talked to Chase about that just a little bit as a driver, not getting too frustrated. He's behind his team. He knows that they're working as hard as they possibly can.
We showed you the graphic where they lost 10 positions. Winner Sam Hornish, he only lost 1, and that was when somebody else only took 2 tires versus his 4. We've got some great onboard shots riding with these drivers today around the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Kevin Harvick will carry the Hunt Brothers Pizza onboard camera. Trevor Bain will carry the AdvoCare onboard. Regan Smith in the Chevy onboard camera. Chase Elliott, our in-race reporter, will carry the Nationwide Insurance onboard. Elliott Sadler, the Goodyear onboard camera. Brad Keselowski, the Ford EcoBoost camera. Dakota Armstrong will carry the Fresh from Florida onboard. And Kyle Busch, the Toyota onboard camera today. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, proudly supporting our military for more than 100 years. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Beautiful views from high up above today, provided to us by the Goodyear blimp once it gets off the ground there. They do a great job of that every week, and we sure appreciate it. This broadcast is also available in Spanish by activating your SAP button. Presented by ESPN Deportes. So we had an interesting look at the field and the way the season's gone so far. 6 teams have won 10 events. 5 for JGR Penske and Roush Fenway, 5 for Junior Motorsports, RCR, and Turner Scott Motorsports. And when you look at the drivers involved today and what they are running and which teams are running for, it's quite a matchup. DJ, if you had to pick between the guys on the left and the guys on the right who won the last 9 races, what do you think?
Oh, you're making me choose, but I'm going to take the guys on the right. A lot of experience up there, and they know how to get it done here at a difficult racetrack.
Okay, I'll take the other side then, because you got Kevin Harvick over there driving for Junior Motorsports as well as Regan Smith and Chase Elliott. I think they're going to have a good shot at it.
Those 14 drivers very likely to play into today's winning action as we get ready to go green here. The pole won by Kyle Busch. To his outside, Brad Keselowski, Sprint Cup veteran, and from week to week, 2 guys that run extremely hard against each other. 200 laps, 300 miles set to go here at Charlotte. Pace car is off. And we are green at Charlotte. Race for our Napa know-how, Andy. Kyle Busch launched at the start.
Yeah, you can see how important it is to control that start and be the guy that gets on the throttle first. I mean, Kyle's got a great car, but he did get the advantage on that start.
Yeah, he lost out, but he was spinning the tires as he was doing that, but he was doing a better job than the rest of the field. I always thought that during the daylight races, that turn 3 was the most critical here. It just seemed like that really got loose on the entrance, and you try to get back in the throttle. We'll have to see if there's a lot of action down there today.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Keselowski really struggled on that start. He started on the front row, and now he's given up, quite a few spots. And I don't know if he may have a car that's a little bit free in the beginning, expecting it to tighten up later in the run. But he didn't get off to a really good start.
Interestingly, Andy, the top 3 all started on the inside line. Is there something to do with the lines today, perhaps, on the restart?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that inside lane definitely had an advantage.
Down into 3, nearly 3 wide. Kenseth with the advantage over Larson and Keselowski.
We expected Kyle Larson to go to the top of the racetrack probably sooner than anyone else. I don't think he anticipated being up there right now. He's just kind of been forced up there, but he's kind of holding his own, even though he lost the spot there to Matt Kenseth.
He got an opportunity to go to the bottom and takes it.
Talked about how Now this racetrack, you race all over it, and it determines where your speed is gotten off that corner there. Keselowski with a great drive off.
Yeah, I think Keselowski just got off the initial start, put him back in traffic, and I think you're going to see his car come back to the front.
Elliott Sadler looking underneath the 3 of Dillon, the 60 of Buscher, trying to hold them both off.
This racetrack is just so difficult in the daylight hours. As this track continues to heat up, the track temperature goes up, more rubber gets down, it becomes slicker. These drivers will have to search around. As I talk to drivers, the one common word among them was treacherous. This is going to be an afternoon of 300 miles of very difficult racing for them.
10 drivers have never raced in the Nationwide Series here at Charlotte. You see Ty Dillon right there running in the 11th position. Behind him, the 99 of James Buscher, the 6 of Trevor Bayne, and Chris Buscher now going the wrong direction. DJ, you want treacherous?
Well, and that's coming off. Normally, you're okay right there, but I tell you, these cars can be a handful. You lose a little bit of air on the nose or on the rear, and you start chasing the car around. It doesn't matter where you are on the track.
Battle for second. Here comes Kenson.
They talk about how racetracks are challenging, and this is one of them. Matt Kemp is so good at managing a racetrack that has limited amount of grip.
And again, one of the veterans who has won here before 3 times in the Nationwide Series for the driver of the 20 car. He moves Kevin Harvick back to 3rd position. Keselowski runs in 4th. There's your leader. He's had a handle on this place all week. Charlotte Motor Speedway, the site of today's 300-miler for the Nationwide Series. It's the History 300, and while Kyle Busch may have led every lap so far, part of the fun that we saw coming with today's race was the depth of the field. In his mirrors, his teammate Matt Kenseth, Brad Keselowski, and Kevin Harvick all chasing him down.
See Keselowski in that 22, right? He didn't get a very good start, but his car has certainly come to life. He's been the fastest car for about the last 5 laps.
Yeah, not surprising that our top 5 are all in the Coca-Cola 600 tomorrow. So,
what did we see last week? 22 car needed a long run to catch the 54. Didn't have it at the end of the race. Sam Hornish went on to win. Looks like it's the same program today for them. Keselowski working the wheel, again chasing down Kenseth, who is running in the 2nd position. Here's Chase Elliott, our in-race reporter. He's running in the 6th spot. He's picked up 3 since the drop of the green flag, but...
Right now, just plow inside across the middle. That's good. Use a little bit of that apron, move your entry. Let's on this ride around the bottom. I'm super tight.
That's good.
Well, I'm going to tell you how good it is. The last 2 laps, he was the 2nd quickest car on the racetrack and the 3rd quickest car on the racetrack. The last 2 laps. That is good. That's one thing you need here at Charlotte.
that's a good thing, especially at this point, to start the race that way. Now they can adjust their race car. Whenever you've got a tight race car, you're comfortable there. He's not going to abuse the car. But now, as they make pit stops and changes this car, they're going to free it up. It's only going to make it faster. So a lot to look forward to there. Whereas the other way, they might not have a faster car. He's going to be someone to deal with before this race is over.
Guys, we see Brian Scott taking 7th from Regan Smith. What about that first run? This is the first run of the race. They've not had a chance to tune on these cars. Driver and crew chief, they're starting to put together a little book on what to do next, right?
Yeah, I mean, this first run is always important. Sometimes I don't put as much into this very first run. I just want to see the tendencies. I'll wait to that second run to really know how we need to get how aggressive to get with the changes.
On board with Smith. Jim Noble's covering his pit today. Jim?
Well, that's right, Dave. Regan Smith is having a hard time with the balance of this number 7 car right now. It's tight in some places, it's loose in others. Also, his plans for the weekend have changed. Jeff Gordon suffered back spasms today during Sprint Cup final practice. Regan is now the backup driver for Jeff Gordon in tomorrow's Coca-Cola 600. Guess what? He was expecting to go to Indianapolis to watch the Indy 500. Those plans have changed.
How about that?
Yeah, I hate to hear that for Jeff, having a problem with his back. But Regan Smith would be a good backup driver to have on board.
We saw him jump in at Richmond last year while, or I think it was last year when Jimmy Johnson was on baby watch. So a friend of Hendrick Motorsports and a chance to help out where he can. See Harrison Rhodes in the 93 there. This is second place up for contention between Kenseth and the 20 and the 22 of Keselowski. He's come back but kind of stabilized for right now. Right on board with Brad. You see he's right down to that white line. When do we think the high line's going to come in, DJ?
I think it's probably later in the race, actually. I'm not even sure they'll try experiment too much. Brad moved up a little bit earlier and was able to make some good time, but I think the bottom is where they'll want to be at this point in time. As more people run on that, the track gets looser and slicker, then they're going to have to search around for that grip.
There's your lead. Traffic they've come up upon, and now Kyle gets boxed in a little bit as Matt is right there. All three of them going for the lead in turn 2.
Yeah, Matt Kenseth and Brad Keselowski have been catching Kyle Busch, and that traffic definitely slowed up Kyle.
They're now coming up to Kyle Fowler in the 86, and Eric McClure, who moves down, and Fowler a little bit high. Kyle had to go to the extreme side to get around.
And we saw this some last week on the short track at Iowa, but you're going to experience here. We have a big discrepancy in the speeds of these cars that are running up front and the ones that they're lapping here. So Kyle Busch was just probably a little conservative in making that first move around some of them.
Kyle Busch gets through. The top 3 get through. The order stays the same. There's a driver of the 54 coming out of turn number 4. 22 laps down for Kyle Busch here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We'll be back with more after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
At Goodyear, we make tires for the world's most demanding drivers. Meticulously crafted to help handle 200-mile-per-hour turns. Always evolving to face the grueling demands of NASCAR. And everything we learn making tires for our most demanding customers inspires what we roll into yours. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR.
When name your price tool, you tell them how much you want to pay and they help you find a policy that fits your budget. I told you to wear something comfortable. This is a polyester blend.
Tires on the number 20. Brad Keselowski discussing a 2-tire change. Now they will do 4 and tighten him up. Mike?
You can see Kevin Harvick's pit stop in your lower left-hand corner. He's been loose throughout the afternoon. They'll make a chassis adjustment on that race car and 4 tires. Meanwhile, your leader, Kyle Busch, away after a 4-tire change. He was just a little bit loose. He wins the race off pit road after they make some very slight adjustments to the 54 car.
All the leaders came in. We're under our first caution for a spin. Andy, what happened out there?
Well, it looked like Ryan Sieg at 39. He was trying a little bit lower line over in 1 and 2, and he may have gotten just a little bit too low. See right there coming off the corner? Turned just a little bit too much.
First caution of the day here at Charlotte. Kyle Busch leads the History 300 ESPN. We talked about the 9 crew having struggles last week in Iowa. Andy, they're getting back at it.
Definitely responded in a positive way on this pit stop. First one of the day, they came in and you can see from last week a 15.3 on the average time at Iowa. This one 12.8. That was right there with the best of them.
Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, proudly supporting our military for more than 100 years. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, giving us that great shot as well as they come back to green here at Charlotte. Three wide, Chase Elliott threading the needle off turn 2.
But he wasn't able to get him cleared is a problem.
Yeah, he had a good run, but he just got stalled out a little bit.
Sadler wants a little 3-wide action coming off of the corner. Harvick to the high side. Elliott still in the middle.
get all this sorted out, Matt Kenseth was able to get the jump on Kyle Busch to take the lead away from him.
Yeah, while all this was going on, that was a question answered right there, Dave. We were talking about the initial start and whether it was just a line thing or whether it really was just Kyle Busch getting a good start. He had control of that restart from the outside, and Matt Kenseth was still able to get the advantage.
And I think that might have been an experiment on Kyle Busch's part, just to see.
Yeah, how to work out
from the inside. Well, we'll see. It didn't work out good, but that's it's best that he knows that now.
Yeah, he learned something for sure.
This time it didn't work. Kenseth to the lead. He's the second leader today, along with Kyle Busch. Actually, Jeremy Clements led a lap while we were out there. Crossed the line. The 11 car of Elliott Sadler, currently running in the 6th position. Behind them for 7th, it's Smith, Elliott, and Scott. We talked about finding a line on this racetrack, guys. You really can race each other 2 and sometimes 3 wide if you're courteous.
Yeah, it really opens itself up to that, no doubt, being able to do that. I don't think with fresh tires that you're going to want to be anywhere but the bottom. That's where you're going to get the most speed out of the race car. Chase Elliott having a hard time getting his Chevrolet back down to the bottom, though.
Brian Scott holding that position right now against Scott, the fastest car in both of Thursday's practices. Thought he'd show us a little bit something in his Camaro today. Trying to take 8th away from Elliott. It's funny, I'm contradicting myself. I just talked about how wide it is to race 2 and sometimes 3 wide, and yet this is kind of a narrow place to race, isn't it?
Yeah, can't beat that, for sure. And especially as you get through the tri-oval in that area. We see drivers span out and wanting to come through. The safer barriers that they put in have made things a little bit tighter as you go through that. And again, aero-sensitive cars like this, you have to be extremely careful. Make sure you give yourself and your competitor as much room as you can.
Great battle back in the teens here. Whoa, Kwasniewski going really high through 3 and 4. He gathers it back together, but Buescher gets by on the inside.
See the right side of that 31 car is already scraped up from an earlier contact, mainly on the straightaway where he hit the last time.
An unusual placement for that. It doesn't seem to have affected him too much, although he's running back further than he qualified. Ahead of them, Jeb Bush trying to make a pass on Brendan Gaughan. I said Jeb Bush, I meant Jeb Burton. That's in the 98. The 62 of Gaughan right in front of him. Jeb Burton getting his first start in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, Truck Series veteran, trying to make some things happen with that team.
You know, we heard him say after qualifying that good. He wants to make sure that he gets all the laps in today, and he says let the others make the mistakes, and he'll hopefully come away with a good finish.
Yeah, very talented young man, of course, the son of Ward Burton. Nice to see Jeb getting an opportunity like this and really making the most of it. He was very solid in the practice sessions and in the qualifying sessions today. So, been impressed to this point. Doing a good job out here during the race also.
Elliott Sadler under attack right now. He was running 6th. Regan Smith wants that spot. He's going to get it. And Brian Scott to follow. Sadler now backpedaling just a little bit. Back to the 8th position. And if you were joining us earlier today for qualifying, you saw how round 1 went poorly for Sadler. They gathered themselves together, had a decent qualifying run. Now seem to be struggling just a little bit with the handle on that 11 car.
And it could have been an adjustment that maybe they tried to make that's not too. It's like Brendan Gaughan having a problem here. He's acting like he's got a tire issue maybe.
He was running 15th when this happened. That's on the backstretch.
Trying to see if he made contact with the wall. I can't tell from that shot.
Looking a lot like a right rear tire down.
Brendan Gaughan, the veteran of 94 Nationwide Series starts.
You can see he hasn't hit anything, doesn't look like, at least not very hard.
We knew he had a problem going down into turn number 1, didn't he? Shannon Spake?
Well, guys, the word over the radio from Brendan Gaughan is that he does have a flat tire. They're going to bring it down pit road, change all 4, but they were optimistic coming coming into this race. This is a new next-generation chassis for this team. And Brendan told me this week that while they had some work to do on that car, he felt that it was going to be very good. This is a bad break for this team.
Brendan finished second here in 2009. That was his career best finish. Not going to be the same today, as he'll go laps down at this point after starting in the 20th position. Matt Kenseth is your leader. He's ahead of his teammate Kyle and Brad Keselowski here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Powered by NASCAR.
Let's take a look at some motorsports here on ESPN coming up. Lucas Oil NHRA Kansas Nationals qualifying tonight on ESPN2. And the finals Sunday night at 10 p.m. also on ESPN2. And then tomorrow, the Indianapolis 500, 11 a.m. Eastern on ABC. And next Saturday, your nationwide series at Dover, 1:30 p.m. on ESPN. On board with Keselowski with that long run 22 car, he's managed to get around Kyle Busch.
He was able to make the pass. He'd been tracking him down. Well, we've seen a few people kind of move around on the racetrack, but whenever traffic allows, Brad has been pretty much stuck to the bottom.
Little contact out there between rivals. 54 of Kyle Busch, 22 of Brad Keselowski. I don't think it was anything too serious, but always interesting to see these two conversing on track. That's just a bump draft, right?
I think you just give him a little help down the backstretch. Ease up on the slot a little bit, then just give him a little boost.
Yeah, and it was a situation. Traffic's going to play a big part in this race today, and that was a situation as Chase Elliott looking to the outside of Elliott Sadler there.
Sadler didn't want to give up 8th position.
All clear, man. Driving away a little bit.
Yeah, they're just having to get out of the throttle, and they're, as they try to clear that and give these cars some room, the traffic that they're dealing with, it's allowing whoever's behind them to come at them pretty quickly, and that's what we saw happen with the 54 and 22. Same way here with Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott had a good run off of turn 2. Parlay that into an easy pass into turn 3.
You see Brendan Gaughan, who had that right rear tire changed as he came down pit road unexpectedly. 2 laps off the pace at this point for Gaughan. And Chase Elliott, with a good pit stop, a little traffic to restart, finds himself once again in the mix, currently running in the 8th position. The high school grad from near Atlanta, Georgia, two-time race winner this year, trying to make it another on a 1.5 miles. Brian Scott taking 5th from Kevin Harvick.
Talked to Brian Scott a little bit earlier this week, and was talking about his run at Iowa and how things are starting to come around a little bit more. They felt like that this team is getting to where they want it to be. He expected to start out the season much better, but then realized that they were a little bit behind. But feeling good and felt good about his chances this weekend.
He and crew chief Phil Gould, second year together, getting some time to work things out on that team. See if they can build a little speed into the 2-car. Kevin Harvick kind of going the wrong direction right now.
Well, he's certainly trying a different line. He's way up the racetrack.
Well, you want to know when they might start moving around. This is the time. As the track's rubbered up and gotten slick, now it's time to search for some grip and see if you can make your car faster until you get the opportunity to make another adjustment.
Speaking of searching, there's one car that we knew would look everywhere. Sometimes low to pass, but very often high to find grip in the racetrack. That's the 42 Orange this week. New sponsor from Ineos, Japan's largest oil company on that car. Kyle Larson has been riding the rim here at the track, Andy.
Well, I watched him. It's no middle ground whatsoever. He's either right on the bottom, right on the white line, or right up against the wall. And I don't know that he's found one particular line that's better than the other. I mean, you see right there, he's just way up there. Now the next lap he'll come through there and he'll be right on the white line.
And I think traffic's having a lot to do with that, because we're finding some of these cars that are running at a lesser rate of speed that they aren't really sure where they're going. So these drivers are having to kind of dodge them.
Kyle Larson running in the 4th position. He'll start 25th in the Coca-Cola 600 tomorrow. Getting some laps here today in the Nationwide car. Ahead of him, the 54 of Kyle Busch running in third. Brad Keselowski holds down the second position. And since the restart, Matt Kenseth leads here at Charlotte. Kenseth, three-time winner, leading at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We'll be back with today. Made his debut in the Nationwide Series here back in May of '96, and his 28 career wins are tied for sixth most with Brad Keselowski. For more on Matt and all of our top runners, let's go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance. Jim Noble.
Well, Dave, it probably won't shock you to know that Matt Kenseth hasn't exactly been chatty on the radio, but when he is, he describes a car that's pretty tight the first 6 or 7 laps, then starts to loosen up. In fact, right now, 20 is a little free for Matt's liking, but they will probably fix that on the next pit stop. Brad Keselowski, on the other hand, would like to get up to where Kenseth is, but says he's just a little too tight everywhere right now. Remember, on Thursday, he thought he had a good car, but timing and scoring went out, so Brad really wasn't sure how good he was when he was comparing himself to the competition. He knows where he is now, though. Mike?
Jim, you know, if you look at the record books for nationwide races here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, you'll find the name Kyle Busch sprinkled in all over the place. You would think that gives the team extra confidence. Not necessarily the case. I had a conversation with crew chief Adam Stevens earlier this week. He said there's actually more pressure when Kyle's in this car because the expectations are that he will win. Right now, he's been unable to regain the lead, been mired back in traffic back in third. The car's just a little bit tight. Meanwhile, Kyle Larson took a week away from the Nationwide Series while Dylan Kwasniewski drove this car a week ago. Well, right back at it is Kyle Larson, feeling pretty good about it, although the car is a little bit tight. The last pit stop, they pulled the rubber from the left rear, made an air pressure adjustment. It's helped the car quite a bit, as you can see, as he makes his way underneath Kyle Busch, Dave.
Great move by Larson there to get underneath Kyle for third. Coming off the corner, will it hold? Nope. Busch fights back on the outside. How difficult is it to make that pass stick off of turn 2, DJ?
Well, you just got to respect that that car is coming at a higher rate of speed. You can see here again now, Kyle Larson was able to slide up in front of Kyle Busch there because he had a better run and the 54 wasn't coming quite as quick. So it's just a matter of judgment. You have to use that. Your spotter can help you just a little bit, but it's more up to you as the driver to know just how quickly he's coming.
I feel like wow, big traffic right there. 87 and the 25 of John West Townley moving out of the way as Kyle Larson goes low, as will Kyle Busch. I was going to say, I felt like I was watching a replay of the movie we saw from Fontana as they get really close right there. High line, low line, and meeting up off the corner. It's a little disconcerting maybe for those of us that don't do that, but we're going to see it again here for the lead.
Yeah, this has been happening. We heard him report that this 20 car has gotten a little loose as this run has gone on. And I think Keselowski's car stays a little tighter at the beginning. That's why Kenseth was able to jump out there to about a 1.5 second lead. And then Keselowski's car come in, once again, a better long run car. But Brad lost a little time right there. You could see the back end wiggle just a little bit down in 3 and 4. That's going to cost him some time.
It's got that point in the run where the tires are getting worn down. These lap times have slowed up about a second from what they were when the tires were new. So now it's about how the chassis is working and how the balance is.
Ooh, Keselowski by David Starr coming off the corner. Made that pass work.
Because all these things happen when we talk about, when you talk about the cars working at their best. Well, they're at their best whenever they have the tires at their best, and they can make maximum downforce by driving the car off into the corner and the load, everything being perfect for them. As you have to slow up, back the corner up stuff, then the car starts changing. You have to adapt your driving style to that again. So these drivers are working throughout an entire run.
Pretty impressive. Matt Kenseth was able to stretch that lead back out. Keselowski had run him down from about a second back.
He goes by Ryan Reed in the 20th position, leaving 19 cars on the lead lap.
That's the other thing about Matt Kenseth. You really don't know what he has left at this point in the race.
No, you won't know until it's time to win. Yeah.
The other thing that occurred to me, we're talking about Keselowski's car coming alive at the end of the run. Lately, this race has had a green flag look to it at the end. There haven't been these little short runs, so that may play out later today. Kenseth continues to lead, has led 41, the 69 laps complete here so far, working lap 70. tomorrow on ABC, join Indy 500 pole sitter Ed Carpenter as he leads the field to green. The greatest.
Too cool. Better.
The NASCAR Nationwide Series History 300 on ABC. Brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Today's aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, proudly supporting our military for more than 100 years. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Matt Kenseth leads here at the History 300 from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Brad Keselowski behind him in traffic. And it looks like we're coming up on a round of green flag pit stops if we don't see the caution soon. DJ, these drivers, instead of a caution where everything is slowed down, what's it like green flag pit stops here at Charlotte?
Yeah, very difficult. First off, it's a difficult pit road to get on. It's right on the bottom. You don't have the opportunity, or you're running right around the bottom. You don't have the opportunity to get down on the apron, really, so you have to be careful and make sure drivers behind you understand that you're coming in, but it comes up in a hurry. Be really careful not to speed, especially in that first segment.
Well, I think this next pit stop can't come soon enough. Kyle Busch, he's struggling with his car during this run.
Kevin Harvick kicks Kyle back to the 6th position. And Chase Elliott will be our first taker on pit road. The 9 car, who's been quick all year long. His pit crew has come back to be quick this weekend. Mike?
Yeah, and they made a change in that pit crew as well, Dave, with the front tire changer, Scott Brzezowski. We'll see how they do here. 4-tire change expected. They complete the work on the right side. No flaws whatsoever. Also, a Sunoco race fuel taken out of the 9 car. A 4-tire change. A little bit slow there at the end, waiting to get fuel in it, I would suspect. 14.4 seconds. Jim.
Here comes Regan Smith, Mike. I tell you what, he is tight and loose. Hard thing for them to figure out the balance of this car. Regan Smith says it gets sideways when I put some wheel into it. They're going to give him 4 tires, make a chassis adjustment, and a full load of Sunoco racing fuel for Regan Smith. Shannon?
Well, the 11 car for Elliott Sadler's been a handful all day. He continues to struggle with rear grip. He told his guys, if we could get that, we'd be pretty good. Mike.
And Mike Dillon, the father of Ty Dillon, has been on the radio throughout the afternoon coaching his son on his line around the racetrack, trying to help him get around the fastway. No real adjustments, anything significant anyways, just a 4-tire change in Sunoco race fuel for Dillon. He's away at 16.1 seconds. Not necessarily a fast stop, Jim.
Dylan Kwasniewski had a real hard time at the beginning of this race, dropped back from his number 4 starting position, but now as these runs get longer, the 31 car is coming to life. He says he starts off really loose, then it gets better as the run goes on. They're on the right side, pretty much a standard 4-tire stop here for the 31. He'll get a windshield tear-off, a chassis adjustment, and an air pressure adjustment for Kwasniewski.
That was a great series for Dylan Kwasniewski. He picked up a number of positions on that run as he stalls it leaving. Jim?
That's right, he indeed has stalled the car. In fact, they are still stuck in their pit stall. Now he gets going. Meanwhile, Brian Scott having a heck of a run in the number 2 car. He has been very quiet on the radio, and Brian Scott has moved up through the field very, very quickly. Shannon?
The car's been a handful for Trevor Bayne as he's already out of his pit box. They made an air pressure adjustment, Sunoco fuel, 4 tires, just looking for overall grip like pretty much everyone else. Mike.
Kyle Larson on pit road. They're going to make a chassis adjustment there. He's been saying he's lacking front grip. A 4-tire change in Sunoco race fuel for Larson, trying to give him that feel he needs to continue moving his way toward the front. Meanwhile, Kevin Harvick, his car's been a lot looser than what he expected. He came into this race extremely confident. They're going to try to tighten him up, a little bit of an air pressure adjustment there. A 4-tire change in the 5. He's away in just under 17 seconds.
Leader Matt Kenseth on your right has not pitted yet. You see Kyle Busch now coming slowly down pit road in the 54 car. Mike?
Dave, Kyle Busch was awfully strong at the beginning of this race, but since he's been in traffic, the car's been handling a lot differently. A lot more loose than he was before in the race, and he said something that I thought was rather curious. He said he feels like the body is moving around a little bit. A 4-tire change there, but nothing they can do about the body, Jim.
Here come your leaders, Matt Kenseth and Brad Keselowski, both hit pit road at the same time. Kenseth says he's a little free, in and off, and a little tight in the middle. 4 tires and a chassis adjustment, full load of Sunoco racing fuel for Kenseth. Meanwhile, Brad Keselowski parks at a little bit of an angle in his pit stall. But Brad says his car is pretty good, just tight pretty much everywhere. 4 tires for Keselowski.
DJ, you saw why he had to park at an angle there?
Yeah, he came out of the 01. Landon Castle was in his pit, and Brad came in. Really didn't give Landon Castle much room, but that wasn't his concern right there. But it probably slowed him down. He's going to lose probably a good bit of time with Matt Kenseth.
And as we cycle through, looks like Kenseth will hold his position on the racetrack.
Looks like the big winner in that round was Kyle Larson, who's now going to shake out about second place.
Brad Keselowski was 0.9 of a second back. We'll see the struggles they had on pit road. They didn't have him on pit road. They had him entering and leaving.
Just a bad angle, and this is not good for the flow of the pit crew as they come around the car. It really is cramped around that left front area.
Then you see, then Castle, DJ mentioned him, the 01, having to wait and then actually stalling the car a little bit, trying to leave.
Yeah, you could see as they were making that pit stop, the rear tire changer even looking back to see if the 01 was leaving, so he didn't get hit as that exchange was happening.
Lost about 3 seconds there in that exchange to the leader, Matt Kenseth. And positions did change. Kyle Larson now takes over the second place. As we have trouble, it is the 9 car of Chase Elliott. He's been in the wall.
Yeah, he's pretty good damage on that right side.
Chase had cycled through those pit stops to return to 6th position. And let's ride with him.
And caution is out. Uh-oh, sounds like a tire. Definitely.
Doing everything he could to control it.
Yeah, that's a bad break because he didn't have many laps on those tires. He must have run over something.
Caution is out for the second time today for the 9 car of Chase Elliott up into the wall coming off of turn 4.
Yeah, I'm sure that caution came out because you could hear probably some debris out there.
And in fact, now we're being told from NASCAR that there was debris on the racetrack, and that's why we're under caution for the second time. First time we had a spin, that was Ryan Sieg. He's got things back together and back on track. This time, Chase Elliott's the victim. Well, Andy, they haven't been back very long since those green flag pit stops.
No, they're not going to come in because they don't have an unlimited amount of tires to put on, so they're going to stay out. But listen to that replay. It sounded like he possibly did run over something. I thought I heard 2 tires blowing out, like one of them and then another.
Mike has more on the 9.
Yeah, Dave, he just came over the radio and said he feels like he ran something over the right front. That's where the issue is. What they're trying to determine now is just how much damage they sustained when they slapped the wall. He said he wasn't sure how hard he hit. They're going to have to take a real close look when they come down pit road.
Chase's worst finish for his career, and that is all this year. 19th at Talladega. He has finished on the lead lap in all 10 starts. See if he can pick it up and do that today. Let's take one more listen to that onboard, Andy.
Yeah, it just sounded a little weird. You hear something. You hear a couple of different things going on right there. I'm not sure whether there's a piece of the tire came apart and then it actually blew out. But you could hear something going on for sure. But the tires don't even look like they're down, but you could hear it.
His crew getting ready to attend to him as he's on pit road right now for repairs there. Most of the leaders expected to stay out this time. That was a 59-lap run under green, but as we mentioned, they had just changed tires on this race car, so it wasn't a high-wear situation there. Scraped it up pretty good, didn't he, Dave?
Yeah, he sure did, and as bad as the aero part of it looks that it could affect it in that way, I think he's hit hard enough that he could have bent something, probably in the front end especially, probably what they're taking a look at.
I'm sure it's bent some of the steering. They're just going to have to adjust for that. See, they did get some tire clearance on the fender.
Crew Chief Greg Ives looking on. Ives given the helm this year after many years as engineer, race engineer for the championship-winning team of Jimmy Johnson. Trying to engineer a Rookie of the Year, at least, for Chase Elliott, and maybe much more. He came in as the championship leader today. This is going to affect him big for right now. Pit road is open. No takers at the front of the field. With that in mind, Track officials will continue to clean up. And at the back of the field, the 54 of Kyle Busch, the 11 of Elliott Sadler, the 3 of Ty Dillon, 99 of James Busher, all in on this stop. Shannon?
Well, Elliott Sadler once again said big trouble. He told his guys there's no way I'm going to be able to keep this car in one piece unless we make some major adjustments if it goes long green flag run. So they are going to take a big hit at this car right now. Might take a little bit longer on the pit stop is what they told him, but they're going to try to fix her up. Mike?
A brand new car for the 54 team, but it was bent up a little bit during a practice crash Thursday. They spent a lot of time in the shop repairing it, but since the beginning of the races, this race, that car just has not reacted the way they had expected. They came down pit road. Just take a quick look. As you heard me tell you a little earlier ago, when he came down pit road, he felt like the body was jumping around. They took a real close look there to see what was going on. Let's go back to Dave.
Mike, thanks. The hood is up on the 9 car of Chase Elliott right now as they continue to work on the right front of that car. He was in the wall, brought out our second caution of the day here at Charlotte.
A NASCAR to get the app. What do you want to know?
Great action we've seen today in honor of Memorial Day. A great day to go racing at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Brad Keselowski trying to chase down Kyle Busch from the restart. Ryan Sieg with a spin. Crews figuring out how to adjust their race cars. And all day long, it's been a battle of those Cup guys up front, just like we thought it might be. Tonight on ESPN2, make sure you tune in for the Lucas Oil NHRA Kansas Nationals. Qualifying will happen at 6 p.m. Great action there as well. And don't forget Sunday night at 10 p.m. also on ESPN2, the finals of the Lucas Oil NHRA Kansas Nationals. Tomorrow, the greatest spectacle in racing, the Indianapolis 500, 11 Eastern on ABC. And please join us next week for the Nationwide Series race at Dover, next Saturday, 1:30 p.m. on ESPN. The 9 was in the wall. Mike?
And Dave, as Chase Elliott originally reported, he felt like he ran over some of his right front. The tires, though, wore up. He didn't run over anything. He feels like he did break something. They're trying to figure out exactly what in the right front suspension is broken.
Matt Kenseth remains the leader. He chooses the inside line. He leads Kyle Larson and the rest of the field to green. Good restart by Kenseth, but Larson didn't give up until turn 4.
Did a great job through 1 and 2 to stay right on the door of Matt Kenseth, and it held him back just a little bit. By the time they got to 3, though, it looked like the 42 might have just been a little bit tight, or where he couldn't stay down on the door of Matt Kenseth.
I think part of that might have been Matt Kenseth holding him out there a little further than he wanted to be because he wanted to stay on that door again, but that's a veteran move of knowing exactly how to get that guy off your door and pull it down.
Well, it worked. He did a good job.
And that inside line working again on the resumption of the race. Kenseth started first. Brad Keselowski started third. He moves up to second.
We saw some of those cars come down pit road. Kyle Busch was one of them. There was only 13 cars on the lead lap. They made some adjustments on that thing, and so far it looks like it was the right direction.
Looking good coming off the corner. Takes over 7th from Regan Smith.
Yeah, you have to wonder that 54 crashed on Thursday, but that was in the first practice session. They elected not to get the backup car out and go get some laps to take this car back and repair it. They did that, but they gave up all of that practice time, and you have to wonder if that was affecting them. Now, can they make the adjustments they need to throughout the rest of this race?
I think they did a good thing right there because they didn't lose too many spots. It was a good opportunity to come down and work on the car and make some adjustments, some bigger adjustments that you don't have time for when you're trying to make that late race pit stop.
He pitted from 7th position. He restarted 11th. And we were told that, this is their latest and greatest. I'm sure they want to see how it responds all day long. Keselowski now catching Kenseth for the lead. Side by side down the backstretch. Keselowski still trying to get it away from Kenseth. And does off of turn 4. So Brad Keselowski to the lead after starting the day in the second position. A good run building up for the 22. Jim?
Well, that's the good news, Dave. Here's the bad news. On the last pit stop, they did not get all the fuel into the fuel cell of Brad Keselowski. So he's been told that they're about 5 to 10 laps short of making it on one more stop. The problem is their team, Jeremy Bullen's company, the crew chief, thinks that there are other teams who can make it on one more stop. Notably, Brian Scott has really impressed a lot of people today.
I noticed on that last green flag stop, most teams stayed to make sure they've got them full of fuel. And that was so they could make it on one more stop. It's not a, you never know when those cautions are going to fly, so this may or may not hurt the 22 team.
Here comes Kyle Larson underneath Kenseth off the fourth corner.
Yeah, Matt, not quite as good this run as he's been the first part of the race.
It was fun to watch Kyle Larson just search around the racetrack and see where his car is the quickest at a certain time. Yeah, what he just did is not easy. You're down on the inside of the car. You're not getting all the air to it that you would like to have, but he's just been, especially this year in this series, been very, very present, and then the Cup Series, but you really see him be a racer this year in this series. He's already won a race, and he's really doing a great job. We see a lot of good racing going on the track right now.
Whoa, yeah, J.J. Yaley getting underneath the 31 of Kwasniewski. Sadler looking for somewhere to go.
Yeah, and what I've seen, whatever they did with Sadler, I saw him jack the car up under that pit stop and make a change. I don't know if they were taking a rubber out of the right rear, putting one in. The way they were under there, it looked like they might have been putting one in, but it doesn't look like it's to Elliott's liking as of yet.
That is the battle. That was the battle for a 14th position. Kwasniewski holding that down for right now. Brian Scott, Jim mentioned him, running in the third position now. He's gotten around Kenseth as well.
Yeah, and something that I talked to some of the drivers about that we may be seeing right now, that just the difference in sets of tires that they had, how it made their cars react. And this might be something that we're seeing with Matt Kenseth right now, that just changing tire. He had the fastest car. Don't know if they make a big adjustment to that, but it's certainly not to his liking.
Yeah, there's only one thing that's in contact with the racetrack, between the car and the track, and that's the tires, and they make so much difference. And Goodyear does a great job of making these things consistent, but they, even just the slightest little bit, can make that balance go off one way or the other, and this is one of the toughest racetracks to chase the balance. I don't know how many times I've been so frustrated here trying to chase this racetrack.
Right now, it's going the wrong way for Matt Kenseth, the right way for Brian Scott, and certainly the right way for leader Brad Keselowski here at Charlotte. More great racing from this great mile and a half after this message and a word from our... Be sure to tune in Jimmy Kimmel Live. Game night specials start June 5th and every night of the NBA Finals. Jimmy's guests include Mila Kunis, Tom Cruise, Warriors All-Star Stephon Curry, Snoop Dogg, and lots more. Jimmy Kimmel's Game Night Specials starting Thursday, June 5th on ABC. Quite a game out here so far today. Brad Keselowski to the front. Matt Kenseth falling backwards, back to 5th after being the restart leader. That's Chris Cockrum in the 87. He's in a backup car, crashed on Thursday, his first Nationwide Series race. Gone laps down by the leader already. Elliott Sadler and Dylan Kwasniewski in the 31 moved through as well. Trevor Bayne holds down 7th. Until now, Regan Smith has it.
Both of these drivers having solid runs inside the top 10, but obviously both of them looking for a little bit more than that, especially as our points leader has had a difficult day.
Well, Regan is the first driver not to be competing in the Coca-Cola 600 this weekend. All 5 guys ahead of him are guys who are running that 600 miles race and have had lots of track time all weekend long in Sprint Cup cars, in addition to these cars. That includes Brian Scott.
And Regan may be in
well, that's
Coca-Cola 600 tomorrow, depending on Jeff Gordon. We certainly hope he's going to be okay and able to compete tomorrow, but he is the replacement in case Jeff can't make it.
Yeah, we reported earlier that Jeff had some issues with his back, may not be able to race at 24 if he doesn't. This guy, Regan Smith, will jump in the seat. Wishing Jeff the best, hope he's ready by tomorrow afternoon. We saw Regan Smith about 180 going down into the corners. You're with leader Brad Keselowski right now, going beneath Kyle Fowler in that 86 car.
When you look at the fastest laps of the race, Brad Keselowski has run 24 of those, about a quarter of the laps we've run. And Ryan Scott, he's showing up there. He's run 17 times. He's been the fastest car on that particular lap. That's kind of an interesting way to look at it. We're able to gather a lot of this data because we get every single lap time, and that's a good comparison on how people.
We know those first couple in front of Brian Scott there run well everywhere, but I think Brian Scott, when we look back over his career, the mile-and-a-half tracks have probably been where he's been more solid. He's given himself opportunity, even though a couple years ago he ran well at Richmond. Maybe that was last fall that he ran so well at Richmond and wasn't able to come away with the win, but he'll tell you that he really likes Chicago, Charlotte, these type of races.
James Busher in the 99 there, just getting by Joey Gase in the 52. Here comes Elliott Sadler. He'll take that 11th position.
It looks like Elliott's got a little better feel of his race car after they made that change now, and a couple of cars that had gotten by him since the restart, he's making his way back towards the top 10 now.
Yeah, whatever problem he's facing is on good tires when the cars have a lot of grip. In qualifying, it was the same thing. He was really struggling in a couple of the sessions and made some nice rebounds to get up and make it to the next round, but they really struggled early. Now it seems after they run a few laps, his car's starting to come around a little bit.
Both the 11 of Sadler and the 99 of Busher pitted under our last caution, so they're coming back through. And Dylan Kwasniewski in that 31, he had a great run, the last run on the track here, but this one doesn't seem to be as good. He made up a lot of positions on the previous run.
Well, he's trapped a lap down right now, and he's trying to stay in that position. He's the first car that is one lap down. I think the next car behind him that he's racing for that spot is J.J. Yaley. He's able to pull a little bit of distance on him.
And that's a challenge you face here as a racer, is with the changes this racetrack goes through of adjusting your race car, giving the information, and probably more times than not just making small changes because you can't get yourself out in left field in a hurry.
Chad Boat in the 84 going a lap down to leader Keselowski, and here comes Kyle Larson right behind him. Took advantage on the high line of Keselowski getting slowed.
Yeah, he really got his momentum wound up in the middle of 3 and 4, and that allowed that 42 car to close up.
Fun stuff to watch. You see the 9 of Chase Elliott back on and off of pit road. He was down on the apron. And here come the leaders, more traffic.
Yeah, and it used to be that in whether it was the Nationwide Series or the Cup Series, and this is going to get interesting here. I believe the 42 is going to have the big run.
Around Josh Wise, they split the difference. It's side by side at the line. Kyle Larson, your new leader.
It was a good move, risky, but it was a good one. Paid off for him.
And what I was going to say, used to have the passing flag for the lap cars or the cars being overtaken by the leaders. You move to the inside. Now they're pretty much told to hold their line.
When guys run 3 different groups to the corner.
And
all right, we'll go get it back here.
And that's what happens in this situation. Make the leader and the drivers kind of guess as to what those cars are going to do.
Wow, what a move by Larson, taking advantage. And we were watching during the break too. He goes high, he goes low. He really doesn't break his stride at all when it comes to going through lap traffic.
And now he's in that situation, though. It's a little bit easier because the leader is the one that approaches them first, and so he's got to make that decision as to what he's going to do. But Kyle Larson's been very good at keeping his momentum up and going where they're not.
Keselowski back to second. 3 seconds off the lead is Brian Scott, and with him, Kevin Harvick. Kyle Larson has just taken the lead here at Charlotte. Brad Keselowski was the leader, but encountered lap traffic that allowed the 42 to get up to him. On board with Keselowski, splitting Jeffrey Earnhardt, splitting Chris Cochran, 42 of Larson around the outside, and they get back to the line. He's the new leader. Kyle Larson is ahead of the History 300 at Charlotte. Hope you're enjoying the great racing here at the History 300 at Charlotte. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all of your latest NASCAR information. We like the pass that Kyle Larson made. We know that the 22 of Keselowski got bottled up in traffic. But once Larson did make the pass, he stretched it out a bit. He's now just over a second ahead of Brad Keselowski. Moving his way around Dakota Armstrong in the 43. Putting cars between himself and Keselowski, but Keselowski still finding a way. He's still not losing sight of him. So one of the cars that was running so well has led laps today. In fact, 67 of them, most on the day, is the 20 of Matt Kenseth. But after the last restart, went the wrong direction. Let's go to Jim for more.
Absolutely, Dave. Matt Kenseth all of a sudden way too loose, so much so that they talked about reversing the air pressure and chassis changes they made on the last pit stop. Now, they didn't make big changes. Matt says the track has definitely changed, but they definitely went the wrong direction. So they need one more stop to get that 20 car back where it was.
Yeah, kind of what I was thinking, because you see a driver like Matt Kenseth lose that much time and space on the racetrack. You have to assume if he had a tight race car, he'd find his way around there. He would have moved around. But you got that loose race car, you're pretty much tied to one area and just making the most that you can for right now, so you can get back in the pits and make another adjustment.
Yeah, he fell quite a few spots and lost a lot of time, but it's kind of stabilized right now. His lap times have been very competitive the last 5 or 6 laps as these tires wear down.
DJ, what's that loose race car feel behind the wheel, and why can't you work with it?
Well, you can't. There's not a lot that you can do with, depending on where exactly it is loose. But because they're having to attack these corners so hard with these nationwide, they have the less time as you try to go. So you just basically have to slow down just a little bit, every part of the corner, just a little on your entry, getting fast I can drive this car this time, and this is what I'm going to do.
You see Kyle Busch's grip on the wheel on your left there. He looks to the low side to get around Kenseth. Mike Bliss stands in their way in the 19. And a bit of a pick there if Matt wants it.
There are times with a loose car you were talking about it. You can see Kyle trying to make this work, but he's going to encounter a slower car and have to get out of the throttle.
3 wide, 2 wide lapper.
You can sometimes move up the racetrack because you don't want to turn the wheel with a loose race car, and so you're able to move up. But this is one of those that you don't have much room in because of the speed that you're carrying. There's not a lot of grip up there. Hard to take that loose car up there.
And we watch Kyle Busch. I wouldn't say that they fixed his car on that last pit stop, but I do believe they helped it some because he really fell back in the field and was losing more ground as they went. Right now he's able to stabilize and even move forward, so I think they've definitely helped.
As you saw, trying to take that top 5 position away from Matt, reaching over, playing with some dials on his dash there, the things they can do to within the cockpit, DJ, to control what they're doing out there.
Yeah, there's not a lot that you can do. There's some fans that you can deal with as far as the tires go to help depending on what your car is doing, a loose or tight situation. Kyle doesn't use a lot of brake, but if he is using some, that's something that he can do also. Andy, I can tell you he's probably thinking, though, I can't even outrun Matt Kenseth right now, and his car is not driving well, so he's probably thinking a little bit different.
Kevin on pit road, Mike.
Yeah, and he radioed in not too long ago that he saw a bit of a vibration. He's still also lacking rear grip. We'll make an air pressure adjustment for a tire change. Make sure there's no loose wheels or anything like that in Sunoco race fuel. He's away.
Most of the leaders were on pit road about 50 laps ago, so we're coming up on a round of green flag pit stops. Harvick, along with that vibration, in need of some Sunoco fuel here along the way.
Yeah, I think that's a few laps earlier than he really wanted to come down, though.
And we thought Keselowski might too, right? Because of a short fuel load the last time?
Yeah, exactly. That's what they were reporting. They didn't get it full.
He gets to lap 140 before he comes in, but they're playing it pretty close because, as we mentioned, they didn't get the fuel cell packed full last time. So Brad is going to kind of ease it around here, try to get to 60 to go before he hits pit road in about 2 laps.
If we look at his speed guide, 169 miles per hour. The pole speed was 183, so obviously in the race, worn tires is going to slow down too, but Brad's backed way off. Jim?
Here's Regan Smith. This could be his last stop of the day, but they have not told Regan to save fuel yet. They're just going to do an air pressure adjustment. They talked about a track bar adjustment. His tires were shattering on the last run. That's been a major problem for Regan Smith.
Regan leaving pit road now. See the 9 of Chase Elliott coming down pit road. He, by the way, went back out after repair tires, 26 laps off the pace for the young driver. Your leader, Larson, now in traffic as he works around Gase. We've seen Mike Bliss on pit road. Johnny Sauter is on pit road as well. Again, these cars not running in the top 10 or on the lead lap. And we continue to wait. Who can get to, what do you think the lap is, Andy? 60 to go right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what the 22 team thinks they can do is 60 laps. If you have a full tank of fuel, you think you can get and shorten that up a little bit just for some insurance, you're going to do it. But I believe that now we've seen them run through that 140 with 60 laps to go. I believe that 22 can make it now.
Jim Noble?
Well, Dylan Kwasniewski's really been battling guys. Remember on that last pit stop, they actually didn't stall the car. They had a lot of that come through, so they had to back it up. Now with the 4-tire stop, they make a chassis and a track bar adjustment, put full load Sunoco Racing fuel in, and Dylan Kwasniewski is down and away. Shannon?
Well, they have been working on this 6 car for Trevor Bayne the entire race. Sliding the front end is the most recent complaint from the driver. They're going to do a track bar adjustment, wedge adjustment, and the Sunoco fuel 4-tire adjustment.
Bayne leaves pit road now. 22 of Keselowski is on pit road. Brian Scott's on pit road. Kyle Busch is also on pit road. Jim?
All right, let's start with Brad Keselowski and Brian Scott pitting simultaneously. Brian Scott, he is in his window to make it on one more stop. Brian Keselowski should be, but they keep it a little bit sooner than they thought they were going to. Keselowski says his car drives really good. It'll be 4 tires for Keselowski, and now Brian Scott pulls away 4 tires of Sunoco Racing fuel.
On the last round of pit stops, the 54 team found an equalized tire on Kyle Busch's car. They also made a wedge adjustment, and since then Kyle has said the car has been much better. 4 tire changes away.
Yep. And that Kenseth, as we told you, will go back on the changes they made last time, trying to tighten that number 20 machine up, and that's pretty optimistic that if they get back to where they were, he can make a run at the leaders. They're around to the left side, and that Kenseth will pull away and try to run down those leaders.
Looks like Kyle Larson got his insurance lap. Remember, this race will end under green, or at least they'll take 3 attempts at the end to make sure it ends under green. So some insurance laps in case, a good thing. Mike?
Crew Chief Scott Zipadelli urging Kyle Larson to save fuel over the course of that run so they can do this in just one more stop. This could be the last one. 4 tire change, 2 cans of Sunoco race fuel. They'll pack it as full as they possibly can. Waiting on the fuel man, they drop off the jackies away.
Wait on fuel was a call to Elliott Sadler. He will do just that. With Chase Elliott having a bad day, this could be a chance for Elliott Sadler to get back in those points. He came into this race 2 behind Chase Elliott. They're still looking for overall grip as they go for a 4-tire change, and he will continue to wait on fuel.
Ty Dillon back on pit road. A quick 4-tire change there. No chassis adjustments. He's away.
So as soon as James Buescher pits from the current lead will cycle back around to Kyle Larson. He maintains, and Buescher has the front right now. It's the History 300 from Charlotte.
Welcome to the Friendly, Dad.
I've been hearing good things about Sprint's new network. Oh, it's unbelievable.
Racing live tomorrow, 11 a.m. on ABC, 8 Pacific on ABC. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, proudly supporting our military for more than 100 years. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Well, the round of pit stops was clean for our leader, Kyle Larson, but he stayed out a couple laps longer than second place Brad Keselowski. And DJ, that's giving Keselowski a chance to catch up a bit.
Yeah, sure did. And probably, I would say that Brad probably got on and off of pit road maybe just a little bit better, but those couple of laps that he had with the fresher tires allowed him to close right back up.
3 seconds, we're told, was the amount gained during that round of pit stops. And as they work their way back through traffic, Keselowski hoping he can have some of the brakes that people seem to have gotten instead of him so far today. Let's get an update from pit road. Jim Noble?
Gotta tell you guys, they're in great ridiculous down here in Brad Keselowski's pit. He was able to stretch that short tank of fuel as far as he did. That certainly bodes well for him to get those 60 laps on this final tank. As we all know, Brad Keselowski is the king of fuel mileage. He and all those Team Penske cars really, really good at stretching their mileage.
And he had to run that last run probably a lot slower than he wanted to try to stretch it. Now he has plenty of fuel. We're going to see what he has for Kyle Larson.
Giving a wave out the window, thanking Brendan Gaughan for the relatively easy pass by at 180 miles an hour around here. 183 going into the corner, DJ.
Yeah, he may have to get all that he can get and show every bit, because Kyle Larson kind of likes that front spot. When he's got out there, he has been really, really good at negotiating this traffic and getting the most out of his race car.
Yeah, he's not able to pull away from the 22 like we saw that run before. But I really do believe that Keselowski was saving fuel.
They're separated by less than a second. See if Kyle Larson can hold off Brad Keselowski after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Kyle Larson leads the History 300 at Charlotte. He's led 41 of the 159 laps completed so far here today. Let's go up to speed from Nationwide Insurance with our up to our lead lap cars. Let's start with Mike.
And not too long ago, crew chief Scott Cipodelli radioed to Kyle Larson asking how his balance is holding up, Dave. And he said, well, real good. And that's about all we've heard from Kyle Larson all day long. He's been very quiet on the radio. The one thing we do know is that he was listening to his crew chief telling him to save fuel. I just asked the team how good they are. They figure they've got 2 additional laps. Jim?
Well, Mike, no such instructions for Brad Keselowski. He has not been told to save fuel on this particular run. The balance is good. Brad says it, quote, drives pretty good right now. He's biding his time, definitely, before he takes a shot at Kyle Larson.
Mike? In the early stages of the race, Jim, Kevin Harvick radioed in saying the car has been loose. It's not loose anymore. It's handling just about the way he wants it. He's looking for his first Nationwide Series victory here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway to go with a couple of Cup wins he already has, Jim.
You know, Matt Kenseth's car is exactly the same right now as it was before the last pit stop, but that's not very good news. Still too loose. They would like one more shot to tighten that car up. Not sure if they're going to get it with all these green flag runs. For Matt Kenseth, of course, the only thing that matters is winning. Brian Scott, on the other hand, has been great all day. In fact, up and down pit road, other crew chiefs are talking about the 2 car, telling them drivers to watch his line. Very smooth. They like the arc he's taken, and Brian Scott has been extremely quiet on the radio. That usually means a very strong race car, Mike.
In the early stages of this race, it looked like Kyle Busch would do what he's done so many times here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Just simply dominate. He was out front leading lap after lap. Once he lost the lead, however, the car just has not been the same. He's not been able to get the same feel in that race car he had when he was out front. Still a bit mired in traffic back in 6th, trying to find that clean air back at the front, Jim.
Well, we don't know exactly what Regan Smith is thinking right now, but you got to think he's a little frustrated. He said so on Thursday when he told us it's tough being in the same shop as the 9 car, Chase Elliott, having access to the same data, the same notes, but not being able to put a full race together and wind up in victory lane like his teammate has. Regan Smith looks like another case of close, but no cigar today. Shannon?
Well, the good news for Trevor Bayne and his fans is that they announced this week that he will be in the 6th Cup car full-time next season for Roush Fenway Racing. The bad news is this car has actually been a handful for Trevor today. He's been, like most, battling overall grip, and this team was really looking to come out of this racetrack with a solid top 5, currently running 8. Now his teammate in the 60 car also struggling with the car, but a solid run for Chris Buescher here today. They slowly have been building momentum over the last couple weeks. Of course, that second place at Talladega sticks out, but they're really starting to mesh and figuring out what Chris Buescher wants out of his race car. Dave?
Thanks, guys. Those are your 9 cars still on the lead lap. The 2 Roush Fenway cars, 8th and 9th as they run. Up front, it's all Kyle Larson. Brad Keselowski, is he biding his time? Can he catch him before this thing is over? We'll find out here from Charlotte. here at Charlotte. Debris was spotted on the racetrack by NASCAR officials. They put out the caution for safety. All cars slow down. There's a chunk of it right there. And here it is, a chance for everyone to catch up to Kyle Larson and for his crew to go to work keeping him in the lead.
Well, this is what Andy explained on the Napa Know-How at the start of the race there. Crew's got to get the job done so their man has lane choice and can control this restart.
That's right. The winning move is going to be who comes off pit road first.
Now, Kyle did restart the last time on the outside, but so far that inside line on the restarts has looked like a pretty good choice.
It has been, but that, a lot of that has to do with the driver being that. But I would say that would be where I would want to restart by what I've seen.
Yeah, it does seem like it has favored that bottom lane, especially as they make that first lap. Not so much on the very initial start, but once they start getting up to like turn 3, that bottom lane's won out.
They ran 78 straight green flag laps until we had that caution. By the way, the 3 of Ty Dillon, he will get the free pass this time. All right, time for those crews right there to shine. It's the race on pit road among the crew that goes over the wall. Larson's got the lead. Keselowski, Harvick follow him in. See who can get it done. Let's go to Jim.
Well, Dave, it looks like it's going to be a pretty subtle change for Brad Keselowski because they're going to pump up the air pressures to give him better takeoff on the short runs. They come in, they're around to the right side. They have called for 4 tires. Let's see if they do it. Right side tires. Now they'll go around to the left side. It will be 4 for Keselowski, right?
Now, we've been paying attention on this end of pit road, too, to see if anybody would do 2 tires. Haven't seen it yet. Kevin Harvick, a 4-tire change. He's been loose on exit. They'll make an air pressure adjustment. Meanwhile, 4 tires for Kyle Larson as well. He's away. Kyle Busch still on pit road as they complete service there.
Larson exits the leader. His crew got it done.
He did the job. I think Kyle Busch is going to pick up in a couple of spots, too. You have to watch him here at the end.
And how about Harvick? He's going to start up on the front row.
And Kevin Harvick, whose crew actually gave up their front tire changer this weekend, a good job by them to pick him up a spot on pit road. We'll come back to green here at Charlotte. And it's going to be a fun shootout to the end. Hey, remember at the beginning of the race, we talked about who you got. Do you like the teams who have fielded cars that have won the last 9 here? Or do you like the teams that have been hot lately and might be able to challenge for them? I'll show you that again. How we doing, Andy?
Well, they'll like that right side, and there's a lot of good guys over there, but I have to point out, there's my guy there. Got another one up here. I think I'm in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I still got a couple up there that are pretty good at winning these nationwide races.
Well, I just have to say it while I'm up there.
That's right.
DJ doesn't look worried, and especially on the Brad Keselowski front, his pit crew did an amazing job on that last run to gain him 2 positions on pit road, Andy.
Yeah, they have great pit stops, the Gibbs guys do, and they always seem to come through at the when it counts at the end of the race. Look at that, 12 seconds for Kyle Busch.
Sorry, I was comparing to the 22, 54 we're talking about.
Yeah, and Keselowski has a good stop, but it's the second and a half slower.
Well, the big question to the end here, with control of the restart, how does the 42 hold off the guy right behind him?
When we come to the green, there'll be 5 outside, 22 your tail. I'll keep you posted on what the 22 is doing. Whatever you just don't give him the bottom. He was saying he was really loose behind us. They might tighten him up a little bit. 10-4. They ain't got once we get clear and get going. We'll be fine.
And that's the big issue, the restart. Andy talked about at the beginning, the winning move. See what kind of traction he's got.
Well, he has control of the restart. I think that's the big thing for him. So he can control what happens, and we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah, but now it's not a situation that driver on the outside can't beat him back to the line. You have to be on it and going.
Here are the fastest speeds for the first 2 laps after a green flag. Kyle Larson has control. We're green at Charlotte.
Those guys will fight it out behind him. They're doing it.
Yeah. Brian Scott nearly getting into Matt Kenseth, taking that spot down low. Kenseth battles back.
Yeah, Keselowski drove his car off. I'm not sure he let off as he tried to take that second spot away from Harvick and was able to do that down in turn 3.
Matt now to the high side. Remember, took the 20 car has been very loose the last couple of runs.
Here comes Kyle Busch. Now he's taking third spot.
Kenseth to the high side trying to get up there into the top 4.
25 laps to go. That's plenty of time for Kyle Busch.
These guys just race this place so hard. But I've been told you can't drive up through places like Montana and places where you can really drive up through the crowd. Be careful what you do here at Charlotte.
Especially now that everybody's kind of running around the bottom as much as they possibly can. You can see Kenseth trying to make that middle work, not exactly right. Brian Scott get a good run off the corner. And in California, we see them use the apron a lot. So you've got a lot of different areas you can go. You're not able to do that here. You can get your left side tire on that white line, but sometimes you get a little too far, you find yourself in trouble.
Brian Scott uses the white line to take 5th from Kenseth. Up front, 1, 2, 3, Larson, Keselowski, Busch.
We see that lead kind of tightening up. Kyle Busch was actually the quickest time the lap before. He is again this lap.
We were talking in the break, would the 22 have enough time and a quote long run car here to catch a 42? There was only one car that seemed better on the longer runs, and that was Kyle Larson.
Yeah, and it seems like that whenever he's out front here, he's got all that clean air on the nose of his car, that he has performed very well since he took the lead from Keselowski back probably about 60 laps ago.
We see just Kyle Busch get through the middle of the corner there. His car is way better than it was earlier.
Check your speeds at the line, Andy. Look at that.
Yeah, it shows up there, doesn't it? Brian Scott also with a good lap.
In case you missed it earlier, we talked about the 54 of Kyle Busch, a practice crash on Thursday, requested from NASCAR to take their car 30 minutes away from the track to their shop in Huntersville, North Carolina, repair the car rather than roll out the backup, put the car on the pole for today's event. He's had a little trouble today, but battling back and trying to come to the front here at the finish.
Yeah, his issue now is going to be figuring out a way to get by Brad Keselowski. He is indeed just a little bit quicker, but how can he get by him? Where's he going to be able to do that? Mike, how about this 54?
I'll tell you what, he's just been biding his time throughout the course of the day, DJ. There were times where he couldn't do anything, but now all of a sudden that car has come to life. I just wanted to add to the story that Dave was telling about how this car was repaired at JGR. Got to give credit to Kyle for that. Originally they were going to repair it here, but Kyle remembered from his Hendrick Motorsports days that something like that had transpired. They were allowed to take the car off property and repair it. He brought that to Adam Stevens' attention, and they went to Wayne on looked at the rule book and said, you're right, you can take it away. So Kyle did contribute to the way this car has been repaired.
And Eddie, why is the shop so much better than here at the track?
Well, you just got more tools to work with. You got all the jigs, you got everything. You got access to more people. It's just so much better when you have the equipment to work on the car. They can get a lot of work done in a lot less time.
What he'd really like to do right now is if he could get to the bumper of that 22, not to hit him, but just to get him freed up enough to where he might make him get out of the throttle for a split second and make that pass. He's trying to make this high line work, but you can see it's just not happening.
Keselowski holds down that second position. That's the gap from second to first.
One of the reasons that Kyle Busch's team wanted to use this car is because it's one of their latest designs, and they wanted to make sure that they got a race on it to see how it performed. You need that data point. If they didn't get to do that today, then they would have to put it off to another race. And so it helps them progress their program either way, whether the car's better or worse.
These cars don't run with telemetry under competition. They do sometimes in test sessions. So the feedback you get from the driver and what you see on the track is what you get.
Yeah, I mean, the best evaluation for any package is put it out here in a 300-mile race and see how it stacks up. They had to adjust on this car a lot today, though, and it was, like you said, the beginning of this race, it was terrible. Started on the pole, but went straight back. They kept working on it. But that's one thing Kyle Busch is good at, is giving them the right information to make the right adjustments, and I think they've made a lot of headway today.
Well, he is just zeroing in on that back bumper of Brad Keselowski now, waiting for Keselowski to flinch if he would.
Yeah, laps will tell the tale. The more laps they run, if he's able to stay right there, that means they've really fixed the thing. Otherwise, I mean, Kyle Busch can carry a car for 10 or 15 laps.
That's some of Kyle's wins in the Nationwide Series were with cars that perhaps weren't as good as he was, and he drove through the issues and took it to victory lane. Today, it looks like car is matching driver.
Yeah, right here it's probably hampering Keselowski just a little bit because he's having to play a little bit more defense where he would like to just be on the offense as much, trying to run his 42 down, but he's trying to make sure that he doesn't slip just a little bit and allow this 54 by him where he knows he's not going to have any chance at all.
TJ, how do racers look in the rearview mirror, turn the car, and run 180 miles an hour around an oval?
It's something that obviously, like anything else, whatever your job is, you learn all the things that it takes to do it at a high level, and you do that as a driver. But you pick your points as to where you know that you can take that split second to glance and see what is happening around you, and that's all that you need is that glance. Is he getting closer? Or a lot of times you don't even need to look in the mirror. You can actually feel that race car around you and where it is.
Kyle Larson liking what he sees in his rear view mirror right now. It's second and third, quite a ways back, as now Harvick gets pressure from Brian Scott.
He is all over Kevin Harvick. I can tell you, he's doing everything that he can to get by him, see if he can go up there and join that battle for second spot.
Here's some of this great battle between Harvick and Scott. Lap traffic again.
You can see just how loose Kevin Harvick.
Whoa.
Oh my, that was close.
Yeah, he had a nice run there, and he probably could have made that except for the lap car there. That's a great job by Brian Scott because it'd been easy just to pull down there, and he wasn't clear enough. He would have created a bad situation for himself.
Carlos Contreras in that 23 holding his line. Not enough clearance for Scott to make the move. Settling down a little bit now here for fourth. Kyle Larson still has a 1.2-second lead over Brad Keselowski at the front. 11 to go this time by.
That's nowhere in that picture do you see Matt Kenseth. He's way back in sixth place, and he had control of this race and leading it. But we talked about they'll have a loose. He was talking about being loose, even when he's out front. That's hardly ever the right recipe at this racetrack. If you're a little tight, you can kind of overcome it, but not everyone can overcome the loose car today.
And if you look at the bottom of the screen there, I'm just saying, for the last 6 races, and we're coming up on 10 to go. Larson looking solid though, and right now it's just about ticking off laps. And he's running the same line, holding his line, and trying to keep everybody behind him.
All he has to do is look out front right now. Those guys are racing behind him. He's pulled away. He has to just do his job. Look ahead, see what the cars in front of him that he's coming off the lap. Where are they running on the racetrack so that he doesn't break that momentum? And that's what he's done great all day long.
Yeah, one other thing he should be doing right now.
He's down a bunch of power on the straightaways here. Keep on the bottom.
Yeah, they're talking about Landon Castle. He's lost a cylinder. You can hear him when he goes by. But what I was saying about Kyle Larson is he needs to really take care of his tires because they're not going to be able to come in and make a tire change if they have another caution. So he doesn't really need to try to pull a big gap on these two. He can just really take it easy, make sure he doesn't abuse one car or the other. So if we have another restart, he has something for him.
A couple of cars that took a wave around, they were kind of hoping they might get a caution because they still have a set of tires left. James Busher and Elliott Sadler, they're running 11th and 12th right now. They took the wave around, and if they could have gotten a caution, they would have had fresh tires and might have put themselves into a really good spot. But they are back on the lead lap anyway.
Behind leader Kyle Larson, it still continues between Keselowski and Busch. The gap now 1.6 back to second and third. Kyle was close for a while, but boy, Brad's just run away from him right now at the end.
I think they've made a lot of headway with the 54 car today, but still not quite enough to make it a winning car.
By the way, that new look for the leader, as we see, wow, Brian Scott and Kevin Harvick still going at it around Kyle Fowler. They settle that down before they get to 3. Harvick gets around, takes back the 4th spot. Busch is not giving up, though. He's got about 6 or 8 car lengths on him, but no more than that.
They're coming up on some lap traffic. We'll see how they deal with that here. See, Kyle Busch is going to try to go to the inside. They're going to approach some cars, slower cars.
Oh, nearly 4 wide. Tommy Joe Martins gets out of the way.
Yeah, Kyle Busch had to get out of the throttle, though. Wow. Yeah, that was close.
That's where Brad had the advantage of kind of looking ahead there, being the front car. He chose that high line. Kyle Busch thought that he may be able to slide in there, and if he's able to get his nose underneath there, he could make the pass. Chance he had to take.
Brad coming out on the radio earlier about the bad breaks that he might have gotten when guys are taking 3 or 4 different lines going in. That one worked in his favor, but just barely.
Can't leave that door open too many more times, though, from this point on.
Well, he's right there.
Let's look back and see what it looked like from on board. We'll ride with Kyle Busch.
Needed a few more feet there. You can hear him get out. And all he needed was just a little bit. He thought he had made the move that was going to get him to second.
20 of Kenseth, the 7 of Regan Smith. 3 to go now. Kenseth with the 6th position. Smith running in 7. Gap from the lead back to second is now 2.4 seconds. Kyle Larson coming to 2 laps to go. And those new colors, that's big. Chip Ganassi signing Japan's largest oil producer to be on this race car. About 40 people from Japan here this weekend to see what Kyle can do. It's showing them.
Hey, what's so impressive about him?
Bumper, all clear. All clear.
You watch how well he performs at some of NASCAR's most difficult race tracks, and that shows just what a driver this young man is. We've talked about him a lot, but now he's proven all of that out.
Yeah, so much talent and the potential is now being realized.
More lap traffic. The white flag for Kyle Larson. You talk about what he's been able to do in a place like Charlotte. You want a driver who can handle a racetrack with age and character? Call the 21-year-old. He did it in his home state of California. Kyle Larson is going to repeat today. Kyle Larson wins the History 300 at Charlotte.
Now the job, K-Crew. Stop all day. Good job, Daddy. And happy birthday, Joey Dennis.
I think it's Chip Ganassi's birthday, I was told today. So his car owner in Sprint Cup, nice present.
Proud of you guys. Great work. Good job. Good job.
That's Harry Scott.
Co-owner of Turner Scott Motorsports. And I tell you, when Kyle won at Fontana, he put on quite a show. I'm thinking we might see it again. In fact, talked to the guys at Lionel Racing who make the diecast. They said, are you going to repeat that exactly as it happened? They said, yeah, we might have a steering wheel sticking out the window.
Had to set it up right.
It's going the right way for burnouts now. Let's see the wheel coming off. I think you might have to make that corner again before he might need the wheel for a second longer. Let's put it back on. A silent celebration so far for Kyle Larson. I bet that's not going to last when we get to him with victory lane. Kyle Larson has won here today at Charlotte. That car, the 42 of Kyle Larson, sits there waiting for his trophies and a big check. These are the guys who finished behind him.
These some heavyweights finished right behind Kyle Larson.
You see Cup drivers in those first 4. Brian Scott's actually in the Coca-Cola 600 tomorrow, but great run for him.
And maybe the greenest of the drivers, the 60 of Chris Buescher. A nice top 10 run for him today. So let's hear what Mr. Larson has to say all about this. Let's head down to Victory Lane.
Larson getting out, getting congratulated by his team, and what an amazing run. You led over 80 laps today. How would you describe the afternoon?
It was about perfect for us. This Ineos Chevy was great from the time we rolled off on the truck Thursday, and I knew we had a good piece, but not that good. We were pretty dominant there for the last half of that race, and I was worried on that last restart because we weren't very good on short runs and extremely good on long runs, but it was good from the start, and that was great. So once again, just hats off to everybody in the TSM car, and thanks for Ineos. This is their first time on the car, so hopefully they'll come on board for a lot more races, and maybe it's some lucky colors. So thanks to the fans, thanks Nationwide Insurance. I love Charlotte, and hopefully try and get a 600 win tomorrow.
Over the course of that last run, I heard your spotters say to your crew chief, I'm not going to talk to him anymore. I'm just going to give him lap times. I'm going to let him concentrate. What was it like when you looked in your rearview mirror and you saw all those accomplished veterans trying to chase you down?
Yeah, it was nice looking in the rearview mirror and seeing them get smaller and smaller each lap. Not very often you see the 22 and the 54 get smaller in your mirror, so just shows how great of a car we had. Pit crew did an awesome job every stop we had. Seemed like we'd gain on. We wouldn't pass anybody on pit road, but we would gain on them. We had a great green flag stop too. So once again, just hats off to everyone on this team for making this possible.
Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Kyle Larson celebrating his second career nationwide win, Dave.
And a good one it was. He obviously one of the Cup Series drivers in the field today, but with relatively less experience, they had the right setup, did the right things at the right time. Let's hear from more of today's top runners. Here's Jim Noble.
Up Brad Keselowski. Great racing at the end. I'm sure it would have been greater if it were for the win. That was quite a show with yourself and Kyle Busch. How would you assess your afternoon?
Yeah, Kyle and I had a great race. Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson was just gone. He was pretty fast, and I just did a little bit better than us. Looked like in the corners and straight, so got a little bit of work to do, but all in all, a good showing for the 22 discount tire Ford Mustang. We just need a little bit more, but we're running good. Got a lot to be proud of, and we'll move on.
You know how this owners thing always seems to come down to you guys, and I know you probably would throw the 9 car in the mix again this year, but a second place finish, knowing that these guys live for that owners championship, big boost for them?
Yeah, it is. It's important for the guys to work on the car for sure. It's important to me, and most importantly to Roger. We want to see Mr. Penske at another championship, so I'm committed to doing that, and everybody on this team is too, and it's just small victories. It's a long season.
All right, that's Brad Keselowski, runner-up here in Charlotte. Shannon?
5th straight top 5 finish here at Charlotte for Kevin Harvick as he brings it home 4th. So what was the story of your race here today?
Yeah, we were just off a little bit today with our Hunt Brothers Chevy. We didn't turn quite as good as we needed to, and we wound up lacking rear grip as well. So just too tight there at the end. We had our car where it was better at the last run, and then we just went too far and weren't able to compete for the win there at the end. But they tried, and we just came up a little bit short today.
We just chatted briefly about the 600, how it might be a little bit cooler here tomorrow, but how did you notice the track changing as the temperatures went up for the day?
Track's been a little bit different than it has been in the past. You can run up high, but there's really not a lot of speed up high. The bottom of the racetrack is where you need to be, and the cars are very sensitive, Cup cars especially in traffic, so we just have to try to keep our car up towards the front as best we can. We have a really good Budweiser Chevy for tomorrow, so hopefully we can have a good night.
Good luck and thanks.
Thank you.
Jim?
All right, I'm here with Brian Scott. We were just discussing track position. You had a car that could get right at the top 5, and then, boy, tough to get past those other cars, but track position key.
Yeah, first I got to say thanks to Annis and Maple Syrup for coming on board. We wanted to have a strong run for them, all the folks here. And I feel like a top 5 was decent. I hate it because, our Camaro was so good on the long run. We just struggled on restarts. Like we were discussing, I said I felt like if we could have broke free on that last restart restart in about the second place position, I think we could have maintained there with just how important clean air was. The 42 was clearly the best car, so congratulations to them. And we just got to keep working. We've got good speed, good long run speed. We just got to get a little bit better and more aggressive on restart so we can get that important track position.
You were very good ever since you unloaded on Thursday. Putting a whole weekend together like this, what does it mean for you moving forward?
Well, first, it's my hat's off to everybody at RCR and ECR. They've worked hard. This was a new package that we brought here to the mile and a half because we just didn't have the speed to really compete for the win. I feel like this package has the speed to compete for the win. We just got to get up there, get in the clean air, be a little further up towards the end of the race for restarts and things of that nature. But I'm really excited going forward. I feel like we've got good speed on the short tracks. We were competitive at Iowa. We've got good speed now with this new package on the mile and a half. And everybody's working hard at RCR, and we're going to keep getting better, and pretty soon we're going to get up there and be battling for the win a little more often.
All right, that's Brian Scott, a fifth-place finish here today, Shannon.
Well, Kyle Busch led 27 laps on the day, put on quite a show there at the end with the 22. Walk me through the last 10 laps of this race.
No, you just can't pass. Can't go anywhere. It was race today was just all around the bottom. There was no speed anywhere else. Couldn't get anything going on. So just real disappointed. Thought we were better than that, but apparently we're not. We need practice. Just wrecking loose all day, out of the racetrack, no grip. So we struggled real bad and come home with a third. So, I mean, all things considering, should be happy, but, we're only here for wins, so nothing else matters.
Your team was certainly able to rally with the wrecked race car on Thursday, kind of get that car back on the track. What are your thoughts on how hard they worked to get this race?
No doubt, they work hard. They always do. They never do. They never give up. And, having the opportunity to go back to the shop and spending all day yesterday and off day that they were going to probably prepare another car to go test with next week that I had to take up that time. So I hate it for all of them, and I wasn't able to reward them today. But we win and we lose as a team. We wreck and we win as a team, too. So just didn't have it.
Thanks, Kyle. Good luck tomorrow.
This certainly wasn't the race that Chase Elliott had envisioned. It comes home with a 37th place finish because of a mechanical issue. What actually happened?
Yeah, I don't know, something along the lines of a jack screw bolt or something on the right front broke, and I almost like it had been something wrong all day. Just wasn't, characteristics weren't right from the beginning. So I'm not sure if we had something breaking over time and it slowly worked its way loose and then finally failed. But it wasn't a tire, so I initially felt like a tire, but definitely wasn't. So I hate it, man. It's definitely not a good day for us, but we dug ourselves a hole, so we got to get out of it somehow.
So how do you bounce back from that? You drop from the championship lead back to third.
I will try to win as many races as possible. It's the only good thing about it is it's still early in the year, and I think we still have a great race team, and I'm looking forward to getting to Dover and kind of getting this behind us, hopefully going for a win up there.
What are your expectations as we head to Dover?
I won't be satisfied unless we win the race. I mean, honestly and truly, that's what I'm going for, and if we don't do that, I won't be happy.
Thank you. Thank you. Shannon? Jim?
Mike, because of all that misfortune that befell Chase Elliott, you're looking at your new Nationwide Series points leader, Regan Smith. Is there ever a bad time to be leading the standings?
Well, I don't know if there's ever a bad time to lead the Nationwide Insurance Series points, but, it's so early in the year, we don't even think about that stuff right now. We get down to 10 to go, and we'll talk about it and worry about where it's at. Just a little frustrated today. We had a seventh-place car. I thought at times we were better than that, and it was difficult to pass, and we couldn't get our fire alarm service with Chevy to take off early on in the races or in the runs there. We got really tight on entry, and I don't think I've said tight entry in probably 5 years, so it feels good to say it. I just don't want to say it today anymore because I said it so much. We'll go back to the shop and we'll work on it and figure out what we got to do to be a little bit quicker in the fall and come back here and hopefully have our stuff together.
And just to update the story that we led the broadcast with, you are staying in town as a possible relief driver for Jeff Gordon tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm going to be here. I was actually going to go up and watch the 500 with Jeff Dickerson and some of my buddies at Spire Sports, but the deal with the 24 came up, so we'll stay here. And Jeff's pretty tough, so I don't anticipate having to get into his car. But if that happens, then great. I've got experience in it. I've helped him out with some testing in the past, and I'll do whatever I can to help that team and help him out. And if that means sitting around for 600 miles, I'll sit around for 600 miles with a smile on my face, one way or another.
Regan, you were the points leader for a good spell last year, and obviously let it get away from you. Did you learn any lessons from that experience that might help you this time around?
Yeah, that 58 points don't matter at any point in the season. It only took us 2 weeks to lose that lead, so that's why I don't, I don't want to discount it, but I also don't want to put much stock into it at this stage of the season. It's just so early still, and we'll worry about that when the time comes. I do want to say Memorial Day weekend, thank you to all the vets out there. Everything you guys all do for us. We had Mercury One organization on the car this weekend. Great organization, and proud to be supporting them with a fundraiser. You can buy some diecast through their website.
Officially in the lead by 5 points over Elliott Sadler. Shannon?